fishing for a day to have food for a family, or at sea for 6 months to feed billions. Simple ponds to farm fish for local markets, or high-tech production for world trade. From fishers who cast nets and hooks to bring in a catch, to scientists who assess the impact of their fishing on world's fish stocks and the environment. From policymakers who use those assessments to set management targets, to the authorities who enforce them. Today's fisheries sector hosts a multi-billion-dollar industry that is a vital source of food, employment, trade, economic well-being, and recreation. "2,000 years ago, when this was a Roman seaport, the wealth of aquatic resources was considered an unlimited gift. But in modern times, a new reality emerged and the myth faded as fishing and aquaculture intensified and expanded. Expanded to meet the consumer demands of an increasing population and ever-hungry world. Expanded beyond the ability of the resource to renew itself, leaving fish stocks depleted. Expanded as seas and waterways faced external challenges such as changing climates and pollution. As the depth of the problems became more and more evident, the UN Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, championed the drafting of a code of conduct to raise awareness of the need for improved stewardship of the world's fisheries and aquaculture. A code that would set international standards for more rational and responsible fisheries and fish farming. A code that would ensure that the sector would continue to supply the fish needed, providing food and employment for the billions who rely on it. 170 nations joined FAO in its drafting efforts, and in 1995 they presented the Code of Conduct for Responsible Fisheries to the world. An all-embracing document, it includes principles, technical standards, and best practices focused on conserving and restoring the resources living in the world's oceans, rivers and lakes, and promoting sustainable fisheries and aquaculture. With the code also comes support from FAO in the form of assistance to developing countries that lack the financial or technical resources needed to implement the code. The FAO Fisheries and Aquaculture Department organizes workshops around the world promoting new concepts such as ecosystem approaches and reducing post-harvest losses in fisheries and aquaculture. FAO also disseminates information on the state of global fisheries and fish farming. This enables fisheries managers and policymakers to make the most informed decisions possible when setting policies and legislation. The code is non-binding, but countries have had no problem recognizing the advantage of adapting or adopting the measures of the code and using the language the code offers. To simplify its adoption into national plans and policies, the code has been translated into more than 40 languages. Simplified versions have been translated into even more. Here in West Africa, governments have adopted vessel monitoring systems as recommended by the code to detect illegal, unreported and unregulated IUU fishing. In the South Pacific, many small island states now use a community-based approach to manage small-scale fisheries, based on traditional practices and code principles. In Italy, these fish farmers focus on sustainability and transparency and participate in global networks to exchange quality control information. In Southeast Asia, government regulations support fishing and inland waterways. In Peru, standards for fish processing have been established to minimize waste and ensure food is safe. And the list goes on. Fish in the world's seas, rivers and lakes do not stop at national borders, nor does the impact of the Code of Conduct. It has spawned 4 international plans of action and 2 global strategies, plus a series of technical guidelines such as fishing operations and the ecosystem approach to aquaculture. The Code also inspired the 2009 Agreement on Port-State Measures for Fighting IUU Fishing. The Code has become the world's basic reference for fisheries and aquaculture policy and management. It is a powerful document that addresses the environmental, social and institutional problems faced by fisheries and aquaculture. It defines the tools that will enable the sector to continue providing food and employment, supporting the well-being of future generations while protecting valuable ecosystems. The challenge now is to uphold the commitment made by FAO members in 1995 and ensure that the Code and its principles are put into practice.